Good afternoon. I introduce myself. I am Rosa Martinez, Professor of Mechatronic, Electrical, and Electronic Engineering students at the Technological Institute of San Luis Potosí, a public higher level school in Mexico. And in search of scenarios for my students to disseminate knowledge through research formats and their prototypes, classroom products, I found an opportunity at the international event for the Smart Green Connected Society, and with it, Dr. Sai Sharma, whom I deeply thank for the opportunity to be here with you today. I have recently obtained the degree of Doctor in Management, and my line of research is environmental. In my professional work as an industrial engineer, I have ventured into the mining file of my country, being a constant to carry out labor projects based on continuous improvement. And in recent years, together with postgraduate studies, I have carried out research based on strategies for the departments that in Mexico in the mining sector are together, safety and environment, which as an engineer has allowed me to contribute modifications to security tools, where these adaptations come from the customs and thoughts of Mexicans, which are very particular. We are very creative people when we work in free environments. And solidarity. There is a phrase that defines us, and that is that in complex situations, the Mexican unit and is the most human being of the face of the earth. Well, these data are deposited in my thinking, and when I saw the opportunity to enter the green file, then around me I observed the implementation of foreign systems. They're very good, but that come to us as obligations. And in this scenario, then the activities that derive from these new systems or model demanded, there is no social creativity, and there is of course no attitude. Therefore, there is no joint response, what in social research we call culture. So there is no environmental culture. Therefore, my effort is focused on measurements that can offer at all levels of the organizations tools, techniques, methodologies that is required to respond to the global and necessary suggestions, such as the Sustainable Development Goals. And in this new chaos, then several measurement tools have been formalized that intend to be implemented within the mining sector and obtain descriptions that, together with expert interpretations, can place us in the position of negotiating with management to be part of the labor strategies. I open the parenthesis to comment some data that support the importance of the mining sector in Mexico. It is an aggressive industry with nature for its weight of extracting both metallic and non-metallic mineral resources, non-renewable. However, its usefulness in the progress of society and technology is evident. An example that I quickly expose, and I always do it in every scenario, in every opportunity, especially with students to create awareness of what they attack without foundation, is the use of cell phones. In the constructions of our new bed frames, more than 75 different minerals are involved. This is equivalent to 3/4 of the elements of the periodical table. That is, the chemical industry and in the electronics industry are involved, in addition to the mining industry. Wow, in Mexico, mining stands out in the contribution of GDP along with 5 other industries. In a territorial extension of 2 million square kilometers, it has in its deposits 53 different minerals. 53 from 100 that are mined in the world. This is equivalent to the 70% of the country. Of these deposits, 80% has not yet been exploited. And with this, Mexico is the 8th place in the world of mineral production. Foreign exchange income is basically by exploration. Therefore, it is an economic question. On the other hand, the delay in regulations is significant. By 1972, efforts of sustainability began at the world. In Mexico, towards the end of the 80s, it is legislatively proposed to observe ecological damage. And it is precisely this information that generates important studies based on environmentalism in the Mexican mining industry. I would like to present three of these measurement tools or instruments that are products of studies in the file, applying methodological rigor through research projects linked to academia. The first of them has at its axis of operation the theory of the circular economy. In the articulation of sustainable management model, in its early stages, the foundation was established to work with 4 sustainable development goals. A tool created was the adaptation of the circular economic model, in which through 2 possible scenarios. The first, an extractor of ore, and the second, as a receiver of mineral collation through recycling. The mining metallurgical process is related to the CDGs and allows indicators to be established. So we have a quantitative tool that allows us to obtain financial, operational, production information, useful in terms of making managerial decisions. But believe me, that this information is very sensitive to share in Mexico in all industrial, public, and private sectors. So implementing this model has brought us multiple obstacles, and therefore we are pursuing in other ways, such as sustainable social awareness. This tool, in addition to deep descriptions, allows in an attempt to quantify it particular measurements within a Cartesian graph in which each of the sustainable development goals is related to levels of action. And the idea is to know the degree of cultural belonging to these SDGs, which has the totality of workers, not only high ranks, but from those lower. It is a tool with a qualitative focus and that comes from the foundation that associated with the culture of the Mexican worker. And finally, there is the sustainable management model, which is at the time of my professional career an icon, and I aim for it to become a sustainable strategy for the mining sector. It consists, as I have already mentioned, in the deep story of 4 sustainable development goals: industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities, responsible production and consumption to restore life of ecosystems. And they are related this time to fundamental parameters in Mexican mining law. Therefore, an exhaustive study of situation based on environmental impact risks was carried out. Its platform is a conceptual study of sustainable development as the operational part through strategic planning, and sustainable as a part of linking to public policy, visualizing that its implementation can be a substantial part of proposals for reform of the mining law in terms of environmental evaluation and monitoring. Well, this sustainable management model is a milestone that brings together security techniques, circular economy, and measurement of sustainable social coexistence in the search for cultural expression. To date, it has been implemented in 4 mining units, in which the information provided through descriptions and suggestions of actions have promoted the phase in which we have currently find ourselves. Through various projects of the administrative, technical computer type, which are being carried out in advisory company, Minera Tierra Dentro, a methodology is being built to systematize the implementation of the model in the mining units and before to have a database that sharing information with the Mexican Geological Service through a hierarchy to propose to the company to participate in this project. The issues to be solved are, given the demands that are had with society increasing and endorsed by suggestions issued by strong and global organizations such as the UN and its Sustainable Development Goals, and the demands before the laws that frame as a healthy industry, mining in Mexico needs to endorse better practices and require for this that all its staff is combined. That is, it requires change of organizational culture. And in that specific need, the model provides the information. So selling the sustainable management model is a priority. A point to solve is the most appropriate way to present the information that the model throws up. So that is useful in the presentation of reports or in the making of operational decisions, and in the medium term to present them to official organs in search of new public policies. Another point is the integration of adjacent techniques to complement an integrative model, taking advantage of the fact that three of that four sustainable development goals and how other can be involved. Finally, the methodology to implement it, although we have some instruments, interviews, questionnaires, observation guide, checklists, the systematization is still latent. The changes in scenarios from unit to another, from one system of exploitation to another, from one corporate to another, are critical elements that must be treated with caution. And well, this is part of what I have done and what I work today in the search for a place as a woman researcher with the environmental area in the mining sector, and especially in the search to standardize models for the Mexican labor culture, respecting the nature of this, without ignoring the international suggestions that are urgent and necessary in our time. And thank you once again the opportunity within this scenario. I send a warm greeting to all those researchers who I know they are inquiring about better opportunities for our work. I wish you success. I remain